who fought with pride and nobly died, her native land to save. And I'll relate with pleasure great of a morning cold and grey, the artful plans of the black and tan were foiled by the IRA. Near the village of Minalty in the Royal County Grand, there is a place called Salford, a neighbouring townland. 2 houses there, unoccupied, were used to store away guns and ammunition of the local IRA. On the 23rd of January 21, that fateful Irish year, defenders of small nations to Minalty's plains drew near. They swept along to Salford, came to take away guns and ammunition of the gallant IRA. The chapel bells were ringing the call to second mass, when the English gang to Salford with terrific speed did pass. The chapyard, the old houses, were very deeply lay, the guns and bombs that were hidden there by the local IRA. But a soldier of the IRA, Ned Riley is his name. With watchful eye, soon did spy the black militia game. To his sister Maggie, 10-year-old, young Riley then did say, the black and tans have come to take our guns and stuff away. You will not be suspected by any black and tan. So pretend you're going out for milk and bring with you a can. Go straight on to Pat Riley and tell him without delay that the tans are out at Salford to take your stuff away. This gallant little colleen with heart as true as gold went straight on to Pat Riley, and the story quickly told. Pat had been to early mass on that morning cold and grey. He was a trusted leader in the local IRA. He put on his hat and got his gun, a Webley 45, and to gather up his comrades, our hero bold did strive. On the road he met his brother Mick. This to him did say, you must not let those bloodhounds take our guns and stuff away. Go mobilise our company as quickly as you can. In less than half an hour have on Salford Road each man. Mick dashed right to the chapel, and home's a mile away. Gather up the company of Minalty IRA. Meanwhile, the brave Pat Riley went out off from his abode and met his pal Mick Govern some distance up the road. While Ned and Peter Govern full soon he did behold brave soldiers of the IRA and the flag green, white and gold. When Peter heard the story, he went to Avondale, where the dauntless Jimmy Curran had Truson off the gale. This hero fetched a Webley, while a shotgun he did bring, to greet when led that morning the hirelings of the king. The valiant Mick Govern again appeared in sight, now armed with a shotgun and all ready for the fight. Gallant Paddy Farley, who now lies neath the clay, came there to play a soldier's part upon that glorious day. The fearless four soon set to work, 4 true men side by side, and a strand of thorny wire across the road they tied, to stop the forces of the crown, block them on the way. And our heroes then gave them a taste of the IRA. With hearts and souls undaunted and a strong, unswerving will, our heroes raced together to the top of Salford Hill. And 50 paces down the lane, the foe were working hard, taking away the hidden stuff to the cars beyond the yard. The boys upon the hillside could see, but with one glance, that the enemy were divided. Oh, what a glorious chance. Some of the foe were on the road, and the rest were taken away from Lynch's house, the bombs and guns of the local IRA. With their forces thus divided, the time was opportune to let them have a dose of lead to change their merry tune. Oh heavens, would that the others come, help our heroes bold, strike a blow for freedom and the flag green, white and gold. And while they waited patiently mid mingled hopes and fears, they saw the foe had commandeered some local volunteers, and made them at the rifle's point assist them at their game. whilst they took the car of Patrick Smith, a nationalist of fame. Pat Riley blessed himself and said, "We'll meet those Highland G's. The four of us will leave the road and go into Lynch's field. We'll proceed down by yonder ditch where there's cover that we desire. And on our country's hated foe we'll quickly open fire. The other will be with us soon to help us in the fray. I know they're loyal comrades and will not long delay." Thus spoke the brave Pat Riley, a hero and a man. His gallant, faithful comrades were with him in his plan. The dauntless foe stole down the field to a point 10 yards away, from where the Tans were walking in jubilant array, packing their spoil in their big car, and won the commandeer. Oh, they were feeling happy in the coupe they engineered. The four Minalty heroes, as they drew near the foe, were not aware of their number, their strength they did not know. But like true sons of Erin, courage was their shield. They vowed they'd die that Sunday or make the foreigner yield. To view the foe, Pat Riley peeped through a little gate. A Tan on guard soon spied him, and 1 second did not wait. He raised his rifle up to fire, but Pat was quicker still. And then the battle started that day at Salford Hill. Our heroes dashed to cover some 15 yards away, while the bullets flashed around them in spluttering array, and whistled through the bushes, neath which our soldiers kneel. What fearless are those Irish lads, their nerves are strong as steel. Then speak the midmen shotguns, revolvers loudly ring, and a hail of flying bullets greet the hirelings of the king. The battle rages fiercely, the flashes bright out low. Old Erin's sons are battling now against her ancient foe. Fearless Jimmy Corn, whose fame I proudly quote, had an English bullet flying through the corner of his coat. And as he stood back to load again, wait was something more. His gun gets broken in his hands as the bullets down him pour. And now the gallant four are left with only weapons 3. 2 Webleys and a shotgun, but our heroes will not flee. They bravely carried on the fight against the English crew, and o'er their heads in showers, poor man's bullets flew. Pat Riley gazed around him, and his heart with joy did thrill, when he saw Frank Clark, a comrade too, come rushing down the hill. Frank had a service rifle as he swept it down the field, the only rifle off their store that hadn't been concealed. And as onward to the battle his gallant Meathman sped, he had with him M.J. Riley and the Governs Peter and Ned. That dauntless youth, Pat Sheridan, was also on the scene, and those 3 brave lads had shotguns upon the hillside green. Pat Riley shouted fire, and as the boys drew near, showed the Tans the valour of an Irish volunteer. Like the Irish troops at Fontenoy, they attacked our ancient foe, and from their guns the hails of lead and bullets go. Pat Riley and his gallantry lent fury to the storm, and caused the minimums off the crown to rout alarm. The Minalty boys kept pouring in the fire of their array, till victory crowned our glorious fight and the nobly won the day. And on that famous Sunday, as the noonday sun shone down, vanquished in the battle were the forces of the crown. Like General Lake at Castlebar, from the battle's field they sped, and o'er the hills to safety lit the hunted fox they fed. Paddy Smith, God rest his soul, lay upon the ground, while the fight was on and the bullets were flying all around. Shook hands with all those heroes of the dauntless IRA, and thanked his God that he had lived to see that glorious day. The Tans had fled to safety and were forced to leave behind the guns and bombs and other things that they had come there to find. Likewise a costly motor car that took them there that day. It was quickly confiscated by the victorious IRA. While the tans were flying from the scene, and the feet their hopes did mar, gallant Jimmy Curran dashed into the car, and swung around upon the spot without a trace of fear. A heart of gold and courage bold of an Irish volunteer. There was other booty in that car for the IRA to find, revolvers and ammunition that the enemy left behind. They didn't wait for their overcoats, they found Salford far too hot. They could run much better without them, so they left behind a lot. To get the English rifles, the boys were fully bent to pursue the retreating foe. Pat Riley was intent. But the foreign swine flew like the wine, their hearts were filled with fear. Better run and danger shun, for the IRA were near. The captured car was quickly filled with all the stuff regained, by the stalwart lads in whose souls the joy of victory reigned. Then Pat Riley and Jimmy Curran to the castle drove away, and handed over the well-won spoils to the local IRA. To dismantle then the English car, drove there by Jimmy Curran. When they took some valuable parts, this car then did burn. But it didn't burn brighter than the joyous flaming ray that illuminated the hearts of the gallant lads that were victims in the fray. But vengeance filled the craven hearts of the forces of the crown. They swore to get Pat Riley and set out to track him down. His little home was haunted by those bloodhounds night and day. They thought that they would get him and take his life away. Like ravenous wolves they sought for him, but could not their quarry find. To fall into their murderous hands he did not feel inclined. But with his loyal comrades a noble party played, helped to smash the tyrants in many a daring raid. Our hero's wife, God rest her soul, full many a sorrow bore, when these cruel bloodhounds off the crown came rushing to her door, and smashed and broke her furniture, and ransacked her little home, and swore to get her husband no matter where he'd roam. But she bore those trials bravely, with a staunch, unflinching heart, and like her gallant husband, she played a noble part. Oh, 'twere women such as she that helped to win the day, when fighting in that struggle where the dauntless IRA. The crown of glorious memory will through the years adorn the heroine Maggie Riley who came that day to war. Pat Riley off the Tans approach upon that fateful day. She's now far over the ocean in the mighty USA. O children yet unborn, will the praises proudly sing of the boys who beat the forces of the great Britannic king, and made them free from Salford on that January day. Yes, the name will live in memory of the naughty IRA.